Peace be with you. This video is about how a person becomes a Muslim. And contrary to the popular opinion, a person doesn't become a Muslim by simply reciting the Shahada in Arabic or the proclamation of faith. That does not make a person a Muslim. That might be a start, but that doesn't make them a Muslim. Nor is a real Muslim someone who was born into a culture that claims to be Muslim. Such a culture may help you keep within bounds of what God wants, but being a Muslim means that you yourself consciously have made a decision to obey God. That's what a Muslim means. A Muslim is a person who submits to God, who obeys God. It isn't someone that joins a group. It isn't someone that was born into a culture that defines itself as such, because there are so many cultures on this planet that call themselves Muslims, but in action, in behavior, they're nothing like what a real submitter or a person obedient to God, who is obedient to God, should be. The only way to become a Muslim is through effort. That is the only way. And before I get into what it takes to be a Muslim, or the effort that it takes to be a Muslim, I wanted to just kind of give a couple of verses from the Quran to kind of support what I said, especially in regards to just simply saying the Shahada, right? In chapter 63, verse 1, we are told that hypocrites come to Prophet Muhammad and they call him the messenger of God, right? They recognize that he is the messenger of God. So that's basically saying, saying the Shahada. Not verbatim, but the meaning is the same. So the verse says, and when the hypocrites or munafiqun come to you, they say, we bear witness that you are most surely God's messenger, and God knows that you are most surely his messenger, and God bears witness that hypocrites are surely liars. So these people said the Shahada, but of course they lied. So just saying the Shahada does not make you a Muslim. You can still be a hypocrite, right? Also in chapter 10 or Surah 10, Ayah 90 or verse 90, we are told a story about the Pharaoh as he pursues the children of Israel, and he's about to die now, so he says the Shahada. He too says the Shahada, but it's not accepted from him. So the verse says, and we made children of Israel to pass through the sea. Then the Pharaoh and his armies pursued him for oppression and tyranny, until when the drowning overtook him, he said, I believe that there is no God but he in whom the children of Israel believe, and I am of those who submit. I am a Muslim. He said that he is a Muslim. The Pharaoh did. And then the verse goes on, oh, what now? And before this, you were disobedient. So basically, he is going to hell. And throughout the Quran, we are told that he is going to hell. So being a Muslim is not something you say. It is something you do. It is a way of life. Now, nobody wakes up perfect one day and they're like, oh, I'm a Muslim now, so I'm going to be perfect. No, it takes work. These behaviors that God wants from us are hard work. And if you think about it, it's just like anything in life that you would do. This is what being Muslim requires. So let's say you learn how to write. First, you have to learn the letters. First, you have to learn what you're supposed to do. Then you have to order them in a certain way to learn words, and all that requires effort. Or let's say you want to be do boxing or jiu-jitsu, for example, right? You want a combat sport. So first, what you need to do is you need to learn the moves, right? This is reading the Quran. This is reading the Quran. So you are learning the moves. You are learning what you're supposed to do, right? Then the next thing you learn in combat sports is the context within which those moves work. This is how you put them into practice, because you're not going to, throw certain combos or do certain moves when the timing is not right, when it's not time for them, right? Everything has its time. So now you have to figure out the context within which you are going to apply your knowledge. And then the last thing is you have to apply it effectively. So first you have to read the Quran. You have to read it. You have to know what Allah, which is simply God in Arabic, what God wants from you. And now you have to figure out the context in which these verses apply, and then you have to apply them. So, when you're training, for example, when you're training jiu-jitsu, it's a combat sport, and now you know the move, and you know when you're supposed to apply it. But when you're going against an enemy that is better than you, or an opponent that's better than you, they've been training more, it's very difficult to apply it even then. because you have to think about it, and before you know it, the opportunity to make that move has gone by. And this is the same thing in Islam. This is the same thing. It is very difficult to put these behaviors into practice, what God wants into practice. It's not easy to tell the truth all the time, because you have to literally live your life in a way that God wants so you can tell the truth. Because if you do shady things, you're not going to tell the truth because you're not going to want to be exposed. Or even with that, knowing that you're not perfect, you shouldn't hide your faults, at least not from your close friends and family. You don't have to advertise them to the world, but you have to be honest. And you have to tell the truth, at least to your close circle, who you are, and ask for help. Because nobody's perfect. But just like with any sport, the longer you do it, the faster you recognize your circumstances, and the faster you apply your training. The Quran contains training. It is training. This is what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to defend the poor, defend the weak, defend the oppressed, feed the poor. Do all these things that don't come natural to us selfish creatures. And we are selfish by nature. Because we have to grow up, by nature we are selfish. And the Quran completes us, makes us grow up and get past that childhood stage that was a requirement for survival. Now you have different requirements. It's just programming. So becoming a Muslim is a process of learning what you're supposed to do. And that can be difficult in of itself. So let's say you get a bad coach and he's giving you bad moves. Then what? You have to learn as a Muslim. If you want to be a Muslim, you have to learn what is in the Quran. You have to learn. And the Quran itself says what is simple, the verses that are muhkamatum is the Arabic word, are the simple verses, and these are the basis of the book. These are the mother of the book. This is what is important. And you can easily recognize that in the Quran if you just apply yourself. You have to apply yourself as if you were going to school trying to pass a test. That is how you have to study the Quran over and over and over and over again until you know well what it says. And then you have to, figure out the context. So an easy example, God says, and God has commanded that you shall serve none but Him in goodness to your parents. If one or both of them reach old age with you, do not say to them as much as "uff," nor raise your voice to them, but address them with respect, and be humble towards them, and say, "My Lord, please have mercy on them, for they raised me when I was a child." And there are other verses about parents. So if you are going to see your parents and you have a strained relationship with your parents, then you have to recite those verses before you go. And you may fail 1,000 times, but if you continue to try, you will eventually be successful. Again, like combat sports, you're going to fail for a year. Like when I started jiu-jitsu, I couldn't hit a move for a year, and then I finally started doing it. And, I'm still not good at it, but I'm way better at it. I can actually beat some people now, right? This is how Islam works. You start to beat the devil as you recognize the context, as you recognize what you're supposed to do, and that is Islam. That is how you really, truly become a Muslim. It's got nothing to do how you were born. Even if you were, quote unquote, born a Muslim, it doesn't matter. You still get to make that conscious choice. You might have it easier if you live in a country to where social norms help limit you in sin, but that still doesn't make you a Muslim. You still have to do everything that God commanded. Prayer, fasting, and all of those things, prayer, fasting, they're not ends in of themselves. These are tools that help you move toward behaving like this. So when you pray, when you recite the Quran, you're supposed to know what you're saying so you can learn and remember these verses. So when the context hits you, all of a sudden you know what you're doing, what you're supposed to do. Boom, you hit the move. And now the devil's on his back. And that is how you become a Muslim. So I just wanted to say this because a lot of people don't know this. What is Islam has completely been corrupted to make it seem like a soccer fan club. You just belong. No, that's not it. That's not how it is. It's a way of life. And that's how we're supposed to live. And this is how you become a Muslim. It's not easy. You got to study. You got to identify the context for which you have to apply your knowledge. And then you have to effectively apply it. And this can take decades. Decades and decades. And I'm trying. I'm giving it my all. And it can still take decades. It's simple to conceptualize, but hard to do. That's it.